games. Hi, my name is James, and this is James Loves Games. Today I'm playing Minecraft Dungeons, which just came out yesterday. As of the time of me recording this, yesterday's probably a totally different day for you watching this at home. Anyway, let's jump right in. So if you're unfamiliar with Minecraft Dungeons, it's basically a action RPG, kind of like Diablo, where you go into dungeons and fight lots of monsters, and it's got kind of a top-down view. You collect lots of loot, get cool gear, fight more monsters. The cycle continues. But it's set in the Minecraft universe. And so you get all the cool art style and lore and the nice stylishness of Minecraft in a Diablo-style game. And not to spoil anything, but I love it! It's really fun. That was so cheesy, but I don't care! This game is so fun, I don't care how cheesy I sound, because it's awesome. So let's just jump right in. You can select your characters, and you can make a couple different ones for each account. I don't know if there's a limit, but my youngest daughter made this one today, and yeah, that's cute. Anyway, so you can see my cool guy with his mustache and his glowing wolf helmet. But yeah, so you select your character. You can do online game or offline game. I'll just do an offline, and let me just show you how this goes. And in case you're curious, I'm playing this on an OG Xbox One. I don't have the fancy X or anything like that. So there are a few stutters here and there, kind of like how I just stuttered a little bit. So me and the Xbox, we're like best friends. We both underperform just a little bit. So anyway, this is your base camp. So all that to say that it runs pretty well, but it stutters a little bit. I don't know how it runs on an Xbox One X, YZ, whatever it's called. So this is your base camp. As you can see, it's just a beautiful game in the Minecraft world. They've done a really spectacular job of making it just come alive and just really cool looking. I haven't been over here. Well, 50 emeralds. I'll take those. So you can see in the middle of the screen, I've got my heart. That's my health. You get 3 artifacts that you can hold. I'll bring up my menu here. So down here, underneath your character, you've got your 3 artifacts. And these are going to end up being sort of like your actions or your spells and things like that. So for example, the ones that I have equipped, I've got Flaming Quiver, so I can shoot fire arrows for a while. I've got a Wind Horn, which blows all the enemies away and sort of stuns them for a little bit. And then I've got a little Totem of Shielding, which makes a bubble around me that protects me from enemy attacks. And you've got all kinds of different weapons. There's all kinds of swords and glaives and sickles and daggers, and you can even use a pickaxe if you're just hardcore Minecraft fan. And there's all kinds of range stuff, armor. I've seen about 5 or 6 types of armor in the game so far, and they all do different things. The thing about this that's really cool is the way that you level up your character is that you use your points. As you can see up at the top left of the screen, I've got 1,058 emeralds, and that little purple square swirly thing that has a 2 next to it, that's my basically enchantment points. So every level you get 1 enchantment point, and you can enchant your 3 pieces of gear that you have up here. So for my cutlass that I have, I've got smiting. I've got level 2 smiting, and so it costs 1 enchantment point for the first level, 2 enchantment points for the second, 3 enchantment points for the third level. And some of them have multiple enchantment slots, like my wolf armor. I've got Fire Trail, which when I do a dodge roll, leaves a little trail of fire. And I've also got Speed Synergy, which gives me plus 20% movement speed whenever I use any of my artifacts. So these 3 guys down here. And I've got my really wicked Hunter's Promise bow that has its own enchantments as well. And so as you can see, it's got a pretty robust gear system and leveling up system. But my favorite part about this is when you enchant, you use your levels to enchant your gear. But let's say you put all of your enchantments into the gear that you have. You go to a level and you get brand new gear that you would rather have, Well, you can look at your equipment and you can hit, I'm playing this on Xbox, like I said, you can hit X to salvage it, and I'll just salvage this piece, or I'll salvage this piece just as an example since it's not as good as what I have. You salvage it, and it shows you what you're going to get. I don't know why I'm pointing at the screen like you're, I'm pointing at the TV like you're sitting next to me like an idiot. See, it's right there. I'm new. So right there on my screen that you can see, I get 35 emeralds for this. So I'll go ahead and salvage it. That's not a lot of emeralds, but I'm not going to use that armor anyway. But anyway, if you salvage the armor that you have with enchantments on it, you get all of those enchantments points back, and you can reuse them over and over and over again. So once you get enchantment points, use them, and use them as soon as you get them, because you can just recycle those things over and over and over again without having to worry about it. I've got some other neat artifacts that I'm not really using anymore. This one gives me a little boost for a second. This one shoots a giant firework arrow that explodes. This one summons a wolf pet that fights for you, and so on and so forth. There's all kinds of stuff, but you don't want to see that. So this is my camp, like I said, and you can actually buy gear, but the way that they do it's sort of like a lottery system where if I talk to the blacksmith, it gives you a random weapon for 94 emeralds. I think as you level up, the price per item scales up with your level, because it used to be like 80 something. And so if you want to do that, you hold A, spend those emeralds, and you get a random weapon. And it can be better or worse than what you have. But it'll be kind of about in the range of whatever it is you're using. So that's cool. Scatter crossbow. And every time you do it, like I said, it's random. So wolf armor, whatever. I've already got that. Over here, we've got our wandering trader. And you can get a random artifact from him, and they're a little more expensive. What the heck. I'll go ahead and get one. Let's see what we get. Harvester, level 20. So this one, it siphons the souls of the dead before releasing them into a cluster of hex power. Some of these items have soul power, which means whenever you kill enemies and you have one of these artifacts equipped, little souls will kind of float around the screen, and you can soak them up. And some of them only require one soul. This one, the more souls that you collect, the more powerful it's going to be when you use it. So you can kind of charge it up in that way. But let's go ahead and jump into a mission. And one of my favorite things about this game, oddly enough, is the map. This map is just gorgeous. I love the way it looks. I'm kind of a map nerd, admittedly. And I really like maps. And I think this one is just so well done. It looks great. You can easily access all the different levels in the game. As you can see, I've cleared a good portion of them, and I've played probably about 4 or 5 hours total. But that's okay, because I think in the end this game is going to be about sort of redoing the levels at higher difficulties, getting better gear, and sort of repeating that cycle, much like Diablo. So I'm just going to run through the tutorial here, the Squid Coast, just so I don't spoil anything for you guys, just to show you how this works and what's going on. As far as the story goes, it's a pretty generic story where some villager is an outcast and nobody wants him around. He finds this evil magical orb and becomes this super powerful wizard guy who controls this army of zombies and monsters, and he starts taking over all the villages that shunned him. And so here we go. They're going to tell you about the story. I'm just going to skip it since I basically told you what it is. So it's a basic story, but you don't play these games for the story, you know? It's just you play it for the fun. So you can walk around like this. You hit A to do a melee attack. I'm on the Xbox, so you hit A to do a melee attack. And you've got X, Y, B for your artifact. So if I hit X, I equip my fire arrows. Right trigger shoots the arrows. So there's fire arrow. So you've got ranged and melee attacks to do. And the beauty of this game is that there are no classes for you to choose from. There's just gear and weapons. And so you can pick the weapons and the gear that are going to give you the abilities and the buffs to match the playstyle that you want. So if you want to be a long range sort of hunter, bowman type character, you can just spec your gear out to where it's more aimed. It's aimed more at ranged, and so you can do that. Or if you want to be like a berserker type dude with some dual hooks or whatever, scimitars, you know, you can go in and do all that stuff too. And so, oh yeah, and if you if you do right bumper or just move the right stick in any direction, you do this dodge roll. And like I said, I've got a special ability on my armor that will set the ground on fire whenever I do a dodge roll. Really good for crowd control stuff. If you're just surrounded by enemies, you can just roll out of them and just go like that. And a lot of times they'll get burnt. Just like that. So like I said, I've played this for a few hours. I'm level 16, so I'm just kind of walking all over these guys. But that's okay. I'm just trying to give you the gist of how this game works. But I love the menus. I love the scale, the size of the enemies and the characters, and the size of the buildings. There's supply crates here. You get food and arrows. The arrows are finite, so you need to collect those out in the world. You will run out. But yeah, it's a really fun game, and I really, really like it. So let's just continue on down the street here. Oh, and if you hit down on the D-pad, you got your Diablo-style map, which is really unobtrusive. You could actually play with the map on the whole time, and really wouldn't bother you too much. I keep it off unless I really need it. But so this is our villain. He's the Illager, the King Illager, who was shunned and now commands all the other Illagers. Like I said, it's a pretty simple story, but you know, it's Minecraft. I mean, it's not going to be super complex. It's not Game of Thrones or anything, you know. But you know, there's switches and traps and things and skeleton dudes. There we go. The tutorial's just, you can kind of just walk all over these guys, but it's tutorial, so you're supposed to be able to do that. Anyway, that's basically it with this. And you can open up your inventory at any time and swap out gear. But be warned, even if you open your inventory, you can still get attacked, which is kind of a bummer, but it encourages you to keep playing and really only do that stuff when you have an actual break. So this is the campsite I was at earlier. When you do the tutorial, this is where you end up. So that's the basics of the game. What do you think? Whoa! Oh goodness, I'm stuck in a web. I'm not this terrible at this game. Oh, and there's TNT too. So like, when come into my circle of pain.